Hey guys, we're here to see Mad Max Fury Road. Sonya,
Yep.
what do you expect?
Explosions, lots and lots of explosions.
All right, Al?
Yeah, I'm expecting probably at least 1 or 2 dodgy Australian accents and enough cars blown up, torn to shreds to fill an entire junkyard.
Okay, I'm expecting madness.
From the title,
That's it.
A good bet.
Oh yeah, well, you know.
That's fair.
Possibly some fury
I like,
as well.
I like to play it safe. Yeah, all right, let's go.
Oh, what a day! What a lovely day!
Want to get through this?
Let's go.
All right, we've just seen Mad Max Fury Road. Holy doolies.
Yeah.
Sonya, your thoughts first?
Okay, I'm very bombarded by this film. It's hard to get my head to work properly, but overall, visually, I knew going into this that it was going to look amazing because it's Mad Max, it's crazy machines, it's a lot of action, and it absolutely delivers on that. The action scenes in this are quite phenomenal. Also knowing how much is actually human and not CGI. The stunt guys on this must have had an absolute ball doing all of this stuff. And knowing that a lot of the actors were put into those situations that are seriously dangerous.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool. There's been a lot of talk about the female element of Mad Max, and I gotta say, I think it was handled so well. Eve Ensler obviously was brought on to work with the women, and I think that shows, she was a great activist for women who suffer from domestic abuse and violence by the hands of men, and it shows, the women don't have a lot to say in this, but I don't know, their performances were really well nuanced. Charlize Theron was amazing as Furiosa, this crazy, flawed, mental head case of a woman who just desperately needs to escape, takes the women,
great character.
Was brilliant character. But I just feel very bombarded by the film. It's intense. It's very intense.
All right, Al?
Well, yeah, I think that's intense is the word. It's absolutely the word to describe this film. And it is from very early on, you see what you're going to get into. From the first frames, you're seeing exactly how nuts it's going to be, which is very cool. You see immediately what you're going to be getting into, and it doesn't let up the entire film. It does not let up. There's maybe a couple of quiet moments, but primarily it just keeps going, bombarding you. I'm exhausted. I walked out of there on weak legs. I was wobbly. I needed to lie down. I mean,
A snooze would be good.
the downside of this, and it's only a small one, is there's maybe not that much narrative.
No.
Not that much actually happens. It is basically an hour and a half long action scene.
Yep.
It's an amazing action scene. It really is quite amazing how it's all been put together. As you say, with so little digital effects and stuff like that, it's amazing what they've accomplished with what they were doing here. But there are a couple of quiet moments where they do try to put some narrative, and sometimes they felt like they were clanging a little bit. The music, emotional music soared up, and I was kind of
just lay off.
Yeah, let's just get back to the cars. That's what you're solid with. So I don't want to say that there's not arcs for the characters. As you say, there's some really good characters in here, and they do have a character arc. They do have a journey, and you see that if you look for it. So overall, it's an amazing achievement.
Yeah, look, it is. It feels almost as though this is the post-apocalyptic vision that Miller really wanted to have at the time. It was always after because the capturing that world, the design element is amazing. It's wonderful. The characters are really great. There's a comic element to them as well, which is really nice to see. Wonderfully violent, but not in a hugely grotesque way either, which is really nice.
Those chuckle moments where something violent but kind of funny kind of kicked up. You went, oh, that's hilarious and gross at the same time. And I thought it was still done more or less tastefully.
Yeah, it was. And the soundtrack I thought was pretty amazing. It's non-stop as well, like the action. It just keeps going.
When you drive around with a truck full of drummers on the back, you're going to have some goodness going on.
That's right, yeah.
I liked that. I liked this whole, he just takes his band with him on the road.
The accompaniment,
That that was very cool, and that's something that I've never come across something like that before. That's amazing.
There was something oddly Australian about that, wasn't there? That you've got a truck, let's chuck some drums, and a bloke with an electric guitar that shoots flame. There's something very Australian about that, and I think that's fantastic.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
So, are we glad Max is back?
Yes,
Yeah?
I think so. Yeah. I was young when Mad Max first kind of hit the cinema, so I have to say he didn't have a huge impact on my life.
Yeah.
But it's nice to have such an iconic Aussie character back. I think that's very cool. We've been missing that, so I think that's cool.
All right, awesome. Al?
Yeah, look, I think it's a good thing. I think it's a good thing for Australia. I think he's a worldwide icon. You know, he's something that everybody sees something in this guy that they can relate to. And I think that it's great that that's coming out of Australia, that we've got this everyman coming out of here.
Yeah, I think the same. What about Tom Hardy as Max himself? You know, how did you think he, weighed up against Gibson's Max?
That's really hard. That's really hard. Look, half the time I was watching Tom Hardy going, what are you doing, man? Like, what? I think he says maybe 5 whole sentences in the whole film, and the rest is just kind of half-muttered things and grunts and...
That's typically Australian, isn't it?
Well, I don't know whether it's because Tom Hardy maybe can't do an Aussie accent, so they just decided not to give him words. But for me, I actually don't think that worked as well. I think Mel will always be Mad Max until somebody can take that throne, I'm afraid.
Okay. Al?
Yeah, I've got to pretty much agree. It was an odd performance by Hardy. It was very odd. I wasn't sure what he was doing. He kind of often came across as maybe he's a bit simple, or maybe he just doesn't speak English very well. That was the way he was delivering his lines, like somebody who didn't actually speak the language very well.
Right.
Luckily, as I say, it's an hour and a half long action scene, so he didn't have any soliloquies in there, so that's fine. Didn't really detract from the film.
Funnily enough, I really liked Tom Hardy's performance. Yeah, that simple kind of aspect to it, I felt he was sort of almost calling upon some kind of animalistic quality. Yeah, so his actions always on instinct and things like that, but in terms of actually grasping with any kind of dialogue or thought processes, he can't really do it. And I thought that he tried to grasp some kind of continuity from Mel's Max with the wild sort of eyes and the, I thought he tried to try and blend something and also create his own character. But there was some moments I was like, whoa, that's an odd choice. Why is that, why are we going down that road?
I mean, they were really going with the idea of him having been a bit mentally fractured by what he's experienced up till now. He's got his regrets, he's got his guilt that's kind of just messed with him a bit, and that kind of, maybe that's what he was pushing for. It's just occasionally it came across as kind of some odd choices. Yeah.
Well, what do you think about this in terms of an injection into Australian film? It's action packed, and it's a very different kind of film. It's sort of like a big rock opera. So, do you think this is the film that the Australian film industry has been looking for?
Absolutely. I think it is. I mean, Aussie films tend to have a bit of a reputation of being quiet films, or films about criminals, or films about family drama. So it's really nice to show that, hey, we can actually do massive, blockbuster, epic stuff as well. We have amazing talent in this country that, Ed Hardy, Tom Hardy and Charlize Theron, obviously not Aussies, but...
That's all right.
The team behind this film, the stunt guys, everyone who helps make a film a whole film, remember there's a lot of people involved in this, are Aussies. We've got great talent here, and I think Mad Max kind of goes to show that we can hold it with the big boys in this. We're really good at this.
Yeah, cool. Absolutely. Al?
Couldn't agree more. I mean, this is a genre film. This is a massive blockbuster action genre film that isn't about being Australian. And I think that's the step forward. You don't see other countries doing films that this is a film about being English, or this is about being American. Australian films often are about being Australian, and I think This steps outside of that. This just makes an amazing film that rivals any action film that's come out in the last 5 years. In terms of the choreography, in terms of the action, this rivals any of them, and I think that's a fantastic step forward for the Australian industry.
Yeah, absolutely. You said it right when you said about genre. I think it's something that's severely lacking in Australian cinema. We need more of it. We need to, as I said, just make the film, just tell the story, and we can do that easily. So, well, that's our thoughts. Let us know what you think of Mad Max Fury Road.